Yeah, you're fine wherever.
Good morning, or good afternoon. That's it, no, nothing else? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for letting me come. I'm going to talk about CPR. And I'm going to do a demonstration, talk about some differences between an adult, a child, and an infant. And then answer any questions you might have. So, kind of a weird time, I think, with the tragedy in Las Vegas and everything, so, you know, we kind of heard this all weekend. So if you're ready to get started, if we came into an emergency here and these were real bodies, the first thing you have to do is recognize emergency exists, okay? So, and that's up to you what you want to do at that point, okay? If you don't feel comfortable helping, at least you can pick up the phone and call 911 or EMS, okay? You can pick up the phone at the PCC, it goes right to our campus place, or call 911 if it's a life-threatening situation. However, if you decide to go ahead and give care, and you're giving care, and after 30 seconds, a minute, you don't think you're helping or anything, you can't just quit and stop that. Once you kind of start doing something, giving care, you have to continue to give care. Okay? So it's really important to know. So, again, if these were real bodies and there's an emergency, recognize emergency happen, the next thing we have to do is decide to act. Okay? Again, it could be calling 911, it could be helping the victims. If we were in a classroom like this, we see a couple of victims here, we decide we're going to go ahead and do something, we're going to check the victims, we're going to just check to see if they're conscious or not. Okay? So what we do is we get close to the victim, we tap them on the shoulder, are you okay? Okay. If they're non-responsive, we're going to call 911. Okay? And it's really important with a group like this, you point to someone and say, you call 911. If I just say call 911, you may just assume someone else does, or you may not want to get involved yourself, so you may not do it. So if you point to someone and say, you call 911, okay? And then we go ahead and start looking at the victim and trying to help her. If she has to leave to call 911, okay, have her tell her to come back after she calls. So hopefully she just has a cell phone, or who you ask it has a cell phone, they call right there. But if they have to leave, tell them to come back, because that's the only way you're going to really be assured that they call. Okay? If we had a couple victims here, she comes back and she could help me care for the second victim. If we call 911, dispatch may know the building that we're in. They'll know that it's TCC. They may know the building, but they may not know the room. So I could have someone go outside and wait for an ambulance. Okay? So a lot of different ways that people can help you in a situation. A lot of times people don't want to get involved, so really do make sure you take charge in the situation. Okay. So we'll check the scene is the next thing we're going to do, because we don't want to make sure it's safe too. We don't want to become victim. Then we're going to check the victim again. We're going to tap the victim. Okay. And we're going to have someone call 911. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to open the airway on the victim. And we're going to check to see if there's signs of life. Okay, what we do is get close to the victim, and we're going to look at the chest and check for signs of life for 5 to 10 seconds. And what we're looking for there, we're looking to see if the chest is rising, we're listening for breaths, and when we get real close to the victim, we're feeling for breath in our cheek. Okay. If there's no signs of life, okay, again, call for 911. Okay. So, no signs of life, we're going to start with an adult victim. We're going to start CPR. Okay, no signs of life, we start CPR. So what we do is it's 30 chest compressions, 2 breaths, 30 chest compressions, 2 breaths. Okay? So to give chest compressions, what we're going to do, find the middle of the sternum, okay, which is the breastbone right here. We want to go about 2 fingers up. Okay, from the bottom of your sternum. So you go all feel where your sternum is. About 2 fingers up. You're going to put the heel of one hand right in the middle of the chest. Okay. You're going to lock your fingers, lock your arms, and get your shoulders above your arms. Okay? And then do 30 chest compressions. So it just looks like this. 30 chest compressions. Should take you about 18 seconds. Okay, just to give you a guideline. After 30 chest compressions, what we do is we want to tilt the head back, we pinch the nose, and we're going to put a mouth right around their mouth and make a real good seal. And you want to get 2 breaths to come up. See the chest clearly comes up. And if you notice, when I give the breaths, I pinch the nose. If we don't pinch the nose, the air, something's going to come out through the nose. So pinch the nose, give a good breath. You let go of the nose, pinch it again, give another breath. You want them to be 2 distinct breaths. Okay, so the chest goes up, and now chest comes up. We go back to do 30 chest compressions, 2 breaths again. 30 chest compressions, 2 breaths. Once we start CPR, we're not going to stop CPR, with the exception of 5 situations. Okay. Someone else comes to take over. The scene becomes unsafe. The victim shows signs of life. An AED becomes available. Now listen, I'm forgetting the 5th one. I thought I said comes up. I'm drawing a blank. I'll get back. I'll get you the 5th one before I leave. Sorry about that. But once we start CPR, we continue CPR. It used to be back in the day that you did a few cycles and then you'd recheck, but we're not doing that anymore. Once we start, we continue. Okay. One of the things that's really important is we want to make sure that the chest rises, right? Okay, so what do we do when we do CPR? So we try to get air into the lungs, and then when we do chest compressions, we try to circulate that air throughout the oxygen throughout the body. So we give an oxygen, circulate the oxygen. So that's why it's important for the chest to clearly rise. The other reason is because there's a situation called gastric distension, which can be caused by the air getting into the abdomen instead of the chest, which could lead to someone vomiting. I don't know about you, but I think vomit's the grossest body fluid there is. Right. So if that does happen, and someone vomits, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to roll them over as a unit. Don't turn their head and neck, just roll them over on their side, clean them off, and then continue. Now, it's highly unlikely that we're going to do CPR on someone we don't love, someone we don't care about. So you always keep that in the back of your mind, okay? So do the things that you need to do. So that's, to me, I think that's why, the main reason why we want to make sure that the air gets in there personally for me. So I don't want the person vomiting in my face. So CPR for an adult is what we just kind of talked about. And it's really important to know the differences in ages. An adult for CPR is anyone above the age of 12. Okay, so it's a little bit what we wouldn't think. It's about the size of the victim. Okay, a child is from 1 to 12 by definition. 1 to 12 is a pretty good size gap for having doing the same type of skills. Now, when we do chest compressions for an adult, we want those to go down more than 2 inches. Okay? For a child, we want them to go about an inch. About 2 inches in depth. So about a ½ inch less than an adult. So when we do chest compression, we want them to go down less. Because of that age of the child from 1 to 12, you have an option to do chest compressions in 1 hand or 2 hands. So you can do one-handed chest compressions on a small child to help you ensure that those chest compressions aren't going down too far. Does that make sense? Everything else is the same. When we do for a child, we're still going to check for signs of life. We're still going to start with 30 chest compressions. Again, we want them to go about 2 inches instead of 2.5. We do 2 breaths. We just continue the cycle. Okay. So if I'm to the point that I with the victim and there's no signs of life, I start doing chest compression, and I go to give the breaths of the victim, okay? And they don't go in, what we're gonna do is retilt the airway. But maybe we didn't open it far enough, or maybe we opened it too far. So on an adult victim, we want to tilt it back as far as you can. Okay? And a child, a little bit past center. Okay? So not quite as far. So if we try to get those breaths and they don't go in, we're going to retilt the airway. Maybe we didn't get it adjusted right. Try again. If they still don't go in, maybe something's in the airway. Okay? We're going to go back and do another 30 chest compressions. After the 30 chest compressions, then we're going to open the mouth and see if we can see something. So what we're doing in the chest compressions, we're doing a couple different things there. One is circulating with oxygen still, or what's in there, circulating the blood. And it's also possibly forcing something out of the airway. Okay? So if we see something in the mouth, and if we think we can get it out, we take your little finger and try to get it out. Okay? If we go back and we try to give the breaths again, and they go in this time, the next thing we're going to do is check for signs of life. Something's changed, right? No signs of life before, we couldn't get them to go through, all of a sudden now we get the breaths to go in, now we check for signs of life. You all with me so far? I know it's kind of hard to get this without doing a little bit of reading on ahead of time. But. So, definition for a child from 1 to 12, the adult is more than 12. Okay. Now, on an infant, obviously we have a different mannequin here, but on an infant, there's going to be a few different things, and that's anyone under the age of 1. Okay. It's still 30 chest compressions and 2 breaths. The great thing in the Red Cross, that is all the same. But how we check the victim and how we do a couple things that may be different. So when we check the victim, we're going to tap them on the foot and shoulder. Still going to say, are you okay? We're going to keep training that people to do it, just kind of say that person, are you okay? We're tapping the foot because it's more sensitive. Okay? So we tap the shoulder and foot, are you okay? Have someone call 911. We check for signs of life, so we open the airway just a little bit for the infant. Okay? So again, way past, as far as we can for the adult, past center and the child, and a little bit for the infant. Okay? And then we want to check for signs of life. Look, listen, feel again. 5 to 10 seconds. But when we do chest compressions this time, instead of using our heel upper hand, we're going to use 2, 3 fingers. Or you can use your thumb if you want. Okay, so it's going to be just like this. 30 chest compressions. When we give the breaths, again, we tilt the head back a little bit. We're not going to pinch the nose, so we're going to make a seal around the nose and mouth. Okay. Okay, it just looks like this. 2 breaths, 30 chest compressions, 2 breaths. Any questions so far? Yes.
Do you do a stronger breath for an adult than an infant?
Yes, yes. I don't know how to describe it other than it's a feeling. Okay. More times than not, what I see when the students come in is when they give the breaths at first, they don't give a hard enough breaths for the adults. Okay. They come in and they just kind of gently put their mouth around the mannequin and give the breath, and it doesn't go. And you really have to make a good skill. It's a pretty strong breath for the adults. Yeah. The cycle is going to be a little bit faster. You're going to do 100 to 120 compressions per minute. Probably closer to 120 per minute for the infant than the adult, and that's just because of the size of the victim. You're not going to go down as far. It doesn't take as much effort to give the compression as it does for an adult or a child. So I'm giving you these numbers just to give you a thing. You know the song "Staying Alive"? That's the beat you want. Okay, don't make me take it out. I actually do. I use it sometimes. But that's the, if you think about them, Michael Jackson Beat It is another one that has that same beat is what you're looking for in compressions. Sometimes if you get one of those songs in your mind, it kind of will help you with compressions. Any other questions? Yes.
How do you know if you've tilted the head back too hard?
How do you know if you tilt it back too far?
Yeah.
If the breaths won't go in. If you tilt it back too far, it won't go in. Not enough, it's not going to go in. So it's a trial by error sometimes. Yeah. These mannequins are great practice because you have to go all, you take it back as far as you can, it's going to go. If you don't go here, but for a real person, it's going to depend on their size. You know, if it's a bigger person, you might have to open it more. A little smaller person, a little bit less. Yeah, good question. This is great. I just got hearing aids last week, and I could hear you everyone. That's fantastic.
If you're not positive you know what you're doing, are you better off to do something rather than nothing?
Yes. Yes. So we do practice, and we do teach 30 compressions, 2 breaths. We're doing something is better than nothing. There's really not going to be a lot of difference between 25 compressions and 3 breaths. The research shows 30 and 2 is the best way to go. But yes, don't let that be a barrier of action, a reason you don't help. You're not going to get sued, or you can get sued. But there are no, Red Cross will support you. There's a couple terms, do no harm. Okay, you're trying to help someone. Good Samaritan laws will kick in. Yes.
If you don't feel comfortable doing the mouth-to-mouth, can you just do compressions?
Very good question. Yes, there is an option you can just do chest compressions. So yes, you would just do compressions, continuous compressions. Very good. You have a CPR. Any other questions? No? If there's no more questions, that's really all I had to share.